Let's talk about whether we think it is smart to use facial recognition or fingerprint recognition to secure devices. So, Sarah, I'm just going to ask you, why might it not be a good idea to do this? Because surely this has to be. Biometrics, we've been pushed and pushed and pushed, are the way to do this, right? But why might it not be a good way to do this?
I'm so glad you came to me because I love court, as you guys know. But the big thing here was that the California Appellate Court deemed that it was okay for the police officer to force the suspect to unlock his phone with his thumb. Like not even like, I guarantee it was not a like, hey, can you unlock this phone? Yeah. With your thumb. Yeah. But there's other cases where literally the police officer will just hold it up to your face and it will unlock, right? They don't even need to touch you in order to unlock your phone. And that's obviously super problematic, especially if they don't have a warrant yet. They might have probable cause, but they don't have a warrant. And you do not have to give them your passcode to your phone. Like that is, even when they have like a search warrant, like for your phone, you don't have to give them that passcode. And so, and there's, cases where law enforcement will go to Apple or whatever and say, hey, can you hack this phone? And they're like, nope. So when you enable these biometrics, you are literally just handing over, I mean, not that everybody's a criminal or anything, but, say, and this is the case that I am like super invested in right now, which is the Karen Reed trial happening over in Massachusetts. And the problem with this Karen Reed trial is like, I came into the trial not knowing anything about the pre stuff, but as I've been watching the trial, it's like, oh, dang, she was framed and she is innocent, right? So she's in the wrong place at the wrong time, does the wrong things, and now she's being accused of a crime, which could happen to literally all of us, right?
100%.
And yeah. And so they finally like crack her phone because she did not give them her password. They have a search warrant, and there's literal, the head investigator is late at night looking through her phone because they've finally cracked the password, and texts the rest of like his like two bosses and other law enforcement officers like on the case, no nudes yet. Like,
bro,
that's
seriously right.
Wow.
Classic. Right.
But I'll keep looking.
Yeah. But
I'll let you know when I find them.
what I find. No nudes yet. And then like his supervisors aren't like, dude, hey, that's a suspect's phone. Like, no, they liked his comment.
Jesus
so
Christ.
This case is just a crap show. But anyway, if you are just giving access, like I said, I'm not a criminal, but if I'm ever like accused of a crime, you better believe I'm going to hire an attorney right away, and I'm not giving them access to my device, because that's just like handing over. Like if someone wants to frame me, sure, they can like hop in my device and like do whatever they want. And now I'm being convicted of a crime. So anyway.
PSA, turn it off before you give it to the officer. Then that bypasses all bios. Enter a passcode in.
That's one technique.
But sure. I mean, do you have time to do that? Like sometimes
while you're holding on to it, you're just holding the button down. Yeah, I'll give it to you in a second. Just 1 second. I'm complying. Hands are up.
You got to turn it off. But it's so funny, like, because today I asked my mom, like, hey, because she asked me, like, can you install Uber? I grabbed her phone, and she's like, I'm like, oh, I don't know her passkey. So I'm like, hey, mom. She looks at me. I just hold her phone in front of her face. Yeah. It locks for me. And so Apple should do like a thing where it make it slightly more secure. Maybe it needs to read both your thumbprint and your face. So you have to be holding your own phone to unlock. Like, I can't be holding your phone looking at your face to unlock it.
Two-factor biometric.
Yeah, two-factor biometric. but that's like crazy thing. It's like, but that's kind of wild that people are able to do that. Like,
yeah. So I did read a little bit about this, it's because there's it's unsettled law that biometrics are not necessarily protected by Fifth Amendment, which is why when you give, that's why you don't have to give your passcode, I guess, right? Because you're actually it's the act of physically doing something. You have
Well,
to,
and
you have to speak about it, right?
Say it, yeah.
Yes, you say
And
it.
you
Yeah,
have
you
the
have
right
to say
to
it.
remain silent.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. But this isn't saying anything. It's looking
Right.
at it, or it's putting your finger on it. So there's no actual protection. You don't have the same protections. That's why they're allowed to do it. And that's what they, in this court, that's what they got away with. Not only did the officer force him to do it, they were then legally said that's also okay that he did that.
Yeah.
I will say
crazy.
in this case in particular, he was on parole, and his parole
Sure, he was a bad guy.
but his parole agreement stated that he had to give his passcode up to his phone.
And that makes
Okay.
sense.
But
But they
that doesn't
deemed it's
mean that
okay.
This sets precedent. Like the court
Yeah.
should have said, maybe that parole agreement was kind of wrong. It's like going, really, bro? I mean, like, I do have the right to remain silent. I shouldn't have to tell you anything. Like, you have the right to take the Fifth Amendment. You have all of those things. I don't have to incriminate myself. So, like, I'm not going to give you my phone. Definitely.
So here's the thing: who here uses biometrics to unlock the
I
phone?
don't.
I do.
So I
Okay,
do
I do.
because what happened, and this is the scary part, is Google pushed, like I didn't have to do it, but I just did it because it's more convenient. But Google has this new thing where they say, hey, you could enable all your Google login with your face and your biometric.
Your
And so
passkey.
now everything becoming like biometrics. And so, to me, the convenience was like so much greater. But now thinking back at it, like,
Yes.
I don't want to do that anymore, because that means that
Yeah.
anybody who flashes my phone on my face, when they pry my phone out of my dead body, they could get access to it. It's like there's no
We've
protection.
seen the spy movies. So.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I'm in it for the convenience factor. I mean, I understand there is an issue with this, but I'm still in it for the convenience factor.
So that's the IT like graph. Like, you guys know I'm in IT, right? So the IT graph is security versus convenience. So the more convenient it is, the less secure it is. And the more secure it is, the less convenient it is. It's like a big ol' X. And most people are going to opt for convenience over security because they don't care.
I had a fingerprint reader malfunction on one of my earlier phones, and it bricked my phone. And since then, I've never done it ever again. I'm like, I'm never doing that again. Like, I had to go get a new phone and just start everything over and remember everything. And like, it was just bricked in there.
Yep. So I don't know if this is I don't know if this is an issue with Android phones, but it's certainly an issue with, at least it's been an issue with it. It's kind of still an issue with iOS phones. So passcodes aren't secure either. Passcodes are actually potentially an even bigger issue, because Apple actually added an extra security level around passcodes late last year, because what was happening was, if somebody saw you type your passcode in and got access to your phone, right? But let's say that you only used your passcode to unlock your phone. Everything else was biometric, right? Your bank was biometric, you used Face. Your whatever else was all biometric, you used Face. What was happening was, as soon as you had the passcode, it actually enabled you to get into settings where you could change biometrics. So people were unlocking the phone, deleting the face that was in there, adding their own face that was in there, and then guess what? All of a sudden, you go to Chase Bank app, you now have biometric access to Chase Bank app through that phone.
Wow.
It was such a security issue. They added an extra. Yeah, it was so bad. They added an extra security feature that said, I forget what they called it. It was stolen device protection is what they called it. It basically said that you turn it. It was opt-in, which is also a problem. It should be opt-out, but it's opt-in. You turn it on your iOS device. It's in security settings somewhere. I suggest everybody go turn it on. It says if somebody is away from a particular location that it knows that you're normally at, let's say work or home, like places that you go to all the time, it puts a delay on the fact of changing the passcode. So you cannot change the passcode or biometrics for like, I think it's 2 hours or something when you're away from a location, which then enables the person to wipe the phone if you own it. But you have to notice it's gone within a couple of hours.
Right.
If you don't notice it, it eventually unlocks and you can then add biometrics. But it gives you a couple of hours, because what was happening was people were seeing a phone in a bar. They were seeing somebody unlock it with a passcode. They were literally walking over, snagging it off them and doing it right there, adding the biometrics, draining their accounts within minutes, literal minutes of them seeing them type the passcode in. So this makes it a little bit better, but still, passcodes aren't as secure in themselves anyway. It's like which one do you take? The lesser of which evil do you take?